We welcome people to bring anything that they can be able to bring here, but we have also officially devolved the reception of these donations and any kind of intervention materials to our ODM county offices. And those county offices, we are charging, especially where our governors are, we are charging our governors and the chairs of our party, ODM, in those regions to take charge. Our committee will be coordinating with them. But for those counties that we don't have our governors, the point persons there become our chairperson of the county. So it's not in the constituencies, but it is in the counties, and we'll be coordinating with them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Unless there's any question.
Okay. Yeah.
The most affected by the flood. Number one, I asked how you as an oversight leader here are working to maybe curtail such future events from happening here in Nairobi. And number two, maybe your opinion regarding the ongoing demolition in Nairobi, especially the riparian land that has been intercepted by the government.
By the way, before the SG comes in, it is important that we put it out there that our impact so far has been to 6,000 families. I think that is very important because we have done Nairobi and we have done Mavoko as well. And the distribution that we have had so far is up to 6,000 people. But I'll let SG respond to the question that has been asked.
Okay, thank you very much. The first question is how we prevent this from happening in future. We want to say that nothing beats preparedness. We must be prepared for these things because you can see even the forecast is that these rains will continue, and because of changing climatic patterns, we expect that the weather events that used to be extreme, that were stretched out, maybe would happen once in 20, 50 years, are now happening with greater regularity. So as the management of a city, and not just Nairobi, all across the country, there has to be now factored in the fact of climate change and unusual weather patterns and unusual rains, so that you prepare the people for such events. Number two, in terms of settlements along the riparian areas, the people of Nairobi are very cooperative. In fact, nobody wants to stay in the way or in a place that is dangerous to them. They are pushed mostly by the poverty levels and the economic situation that our people find themselves in. So there has been great cooperation. Initially, we were told that the riparian area would be cleared up to 15 meters of the high water line. But unfortunately, we have seen demolitions that are being carried out up to 30, 35 meters from the high water line. So what is happening is that there are some crooked elements within Nairobi and within the state that have taken advantage of this disaster to now settle scores. I've seen people demolishing schools that are nowhere near riparian areas. So we want the government, first of all, to tell us with certainty what is the distance that Nairobians must keep from the high water line. Is it 15? Is it 30? Is it 35? So that people do not, crooked elements do not take advantage of that. And we want to condemn in the strongest terms possible all of those who are taking advantage of this to essentially perpetuate a land grab in Nairobi. And because riparian areas are under the management of the county government, these are answers we will be demanding from Sakaja himself. So as your senator, that is exactly what I'm going to do. Immediately he's back from the US. I know he's in the US with the president. After he has visited Atlanta and the other nice places, we want him to come back to Mathare and tell us where the riparian lands are. Sawa sawa, swali ingine.
And I think I wanted to emphasize also that as a party in this intervention, we seriously hold the view that protecting riparian land cannot overshadow the idea of survival for those people who are there. If we are going to do demolitions, we hold the view that at least the government must clearly be able to develop alternative temporary shelter for those people who are affected, so that before you actually demolish, you can be able to, first of all, be able to accommodate them in a temporary structure. And even if there is cash for shelter, the way the government had said, let it be realistic, because even the 10,000 that is being said is not sufficient, and this is not according to us. This is according to experts, including Red Cross, that have actually diagnosed this problem and said that it's not sufficient to give families that are staying in Nairobi 10,000. We need to give them, actually, at the very least, 20,000 and above. So the alternative shelter is what we're advocating for before you actually be able to demolish anything.
Yeah, I think one of the last things to say about that is that you can see here the leadership of Nairobi. You can see MCAs drawn from various constituencies, wards. The member of parliament is from Westlands is here. We can confirm that up to today, the 10,000 shillings that was promised by William Ruto has not arrived for our people. I think it was part of the money that was used to hire that private jet to go to the US. Any other question? Yes, Sydney.
Now that you mentioned that private jet.
No. Can you focus now?
On food, focus on food.
Yeah, the focus is there. Do you believe that some of the contingency team that was going there, that money could be used?
Sydney, I want you to focus on the work that brought us here. Is there any other question other than Sydney's question on?
Another question.
Yes.
This is not to water down the noble cause that ODM is doing to the flood victims, but this is in regard to issues about resources.
About?
Resources, the sharing of it. There has been a new glamour for a one man, one vote, one shilling. So I don't know if it's something that...
That one you ask Gachagua. Don't ask us.
What do you make of such?
What I know as a senator is that counties continue to suffer. And in fact, some of the criticism that has been directed to counties in their response is that the law requires them to set aside 2%. Cannot be compared to the national government, just like you cannot compare the equitable shares of the national and the county governments. The responsibility is greater on the person with greater resources. So our expectation is the national government. Would you believe it? I was seeing reports that there are people still who are have not been helped in any way in the disaster in Mai. Up to today, even after the president himself visited there, even after the deputy president went there with that formula you were telling us about, nothing has happened. So we want to urge national government, first of all, come through on the promises you made publicly. Again, even when it came to compensation of the Mradi fire disaster victims, the money that Gachagua promised has never gotten to Mradi people. So we want to say that you cannot be dishonest even when it comes to disaster. You have to be at some point, surely, feel some humanity and say, we are liars, yes, but when it comes to helping people, we are going to be truthful men. I thank you. Asante sana.
We have got some donations you can take there that have got us.
Watapiga.
Yeah.
Tumemaliza maswali, si ndio? Asanteni sana. Sasa hii imeingia ni ya Imwatok.
Yes.
Majority leader. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Sinikwambia hiyo iko sawa. Sawa kabisa. Wanaenda flat ya karanda Soweto.
Huyo ongea na huyo.
Kanaanza kutugatua watu wa stores. Mekana wa stores distribution.
Ndiye kama huyo yuko Jakaranda Soweto. Kama najima andamana sana. Ndio hinyore. Okay.